Hello, and welcome to NPC News. I am the NPC man, and today, we are going to talk about the slippery slope. After the Roe v. Wade decision, it's pretty clear that we are going down a slippery slope. However, the white supremacist conservatives seem to totally miss the concept behind the slippery slope. Here is what the Nazi conservatives seem to think the slippery slope is. Let me spit some facts. Inclusivity is not a slippery slope. Making your kids dress in drag and having your teachers choosing your kids' gender is perfectly reasonable. This also helps protect our democracy. This is actually an example of the slippery slope. When the Supreme Court doesn't want you to get an abortion, women's and birthing people's rights will be completely taken away, followed by the LGBTQ2SIAP plus WXYZ people's rights, then black people's rights. After that, everyone who isn't a straight white male becomes a slave. The ending to the slippery slope is that Trump will be re-elected and America will turn into the most fascist country ever. As someone who loves the pride flag more than the American flag, this is truly scary, knowing that the Roe v. Wade decision could easily turn our country into a disaster. This makes me more angry than the time my friends were not posting the black square during Black History Month. Anyways, the person who is most responsible for creating this slippery slope is Supreme Court Justice Member Clarence Thomas. Do not be fooled, Clarence Thomas is not a real black person, and that's proven by the fact that he married a white woman. Gross. I can't believe that this white supremacist fascist is trying to harm himself and his best interests. I think I speak for all of my leftists out there watching this when I say that we need to start controlling black people again, and so they don't start thinking for themselves. That is the first step towards improving our democracy. Joining me now to discuss this issue is one of the pro-choice protesters that were at Washington, D.C. this Friday. Her name is Ashley Harrison. She is 20 years old, and she goes to the University of Virginia to pursue a degree in African American Studies. She is now with us. Hello, Ashley.
Hello, NPC man. How are you doing today?
I'm barely surviving after all of this, but thanks for asking. So after the Supreme Court chose to overrule the Roe v. Wade decision, what did you do after that?
So first off, I ended up crying for the next hour and a half. Then, I went on to protest for the remainder of the day. When I was protesting, some of the racist pro-life people got angry at me because I spat on some of them, I assaulted some of them, and I also blocked incoming traffic as well. However, I don't understand why people hated me for doing all of this, because at the end of the day, women's rights are on the line. There's nothing wrong with vandalizing a city or burning it to the ground if it means that women's rights are protected.
I couldn't agree anymore. So knowing what I said about the slippery slope earlier in the show that came from the Roe v. Wade decision, do you have any thoughts about it?
There is definitely a slippery slope. After seeing how much the Supreme Court hates women, I wouldn't be surprised if they just completely stripped away black people's rights away and put them back into chains and be forced to do slavery work. As a sophomore student at a university who took only one course so far on African American Studies, I can tell you how negatively this Supreme Court decision will affect all marginalized people's rights.
Not trying to attack you, but you do understand that this just doesn't affect women's rights? Because non-binary people and men can get pregnant too, this affects all birthing people's rights as well.
You know what, you are right and I am wrong. I am sorry about that.
It's okay. It's always good to take accountability and admit that you are wrong. One more question before I let you go. What should people be doing to fight this slippery slope?
I think the biggest problem in preventing the slippery slope is silence, white silence in particular. You pretty much nailed it on the head earlier, NPC man, when you were talking about how your friends weren't posting pictures of the black square. It's unacceptable, and white silence is violence. There is absolutely no reason why anyone should remain silent when it comes to abortions, because when you ban abortions, you are saying that you don't want women to vote and you are saying that you want us back in slavery. I would just like to say something else as well. Clarence Thomas is probably a Ku Klux Klan member because I hate him. Clarence Thomas gives black people all across the country a bad name, and he is now revoked of his black card. I also agree with you, NPC man, when you said that black people need to be controlled with how they think, and I 100% stand by you on that.
Ashley, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on to NPC News, and keep fighting the good fight.
Thanks, NPC man. I will continue to fight for women and birthing people's rights.